Woo! Hey everybody, it sure is spooky out tonight, ain't that right? It sure is, Bill. And what better way to celebrate this momentous occasion known as Halloween, or as nerds call it, St. Hallows Eve, than by counting down the top 6 scariest gaming moments. Coming in at number 6, we're going to take a look at the Arbiter's Grounds from The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Yes, this is the GameCube release. I don't have the Wii release or the Wii U release, so I'm going to have the GameCube release because I'm a Chad. The entire dungeon feels as if it's been lost to time and something Indiana Jones would stroll through. It's got bugs, darkness, big skeletons, little skeletons, and by far the scariest part, the pose. It's definitely a step up from what we got in Ocarina of Time. You versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. These things are terrifying. They're hyper-realistic and look like something straight out of a creepypasta Photoshop contest. But it's all worth it because you do get a massive Beyblade you can ride in the dungeon, so that is pretty sweet. At number 5, we have the classic Mario 64 piano jump scare. It's already a scary level, but when you mix in the jump scare from the piano, something you would never expect to scare you, it gives me the chills. At number 4, I'm gonna go with something that you probably might not know about, and that is the ominous figure that stares at you by the flagpole in Super Mario 3D Land. It's pretty spooky as it's unknown what this figure is, and it's just standing there, staring at you, watching you. It's always watching you, looking directly at you, watching you, always 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 watching you. This video isn't about scary moments in gaming, but instead an analysis of quite possibly the scariest interactive experience to be crafted by man. P.T. is a short horror game that was digitally released on the 12th of August 2014 for the PlayStation Network. The game wasn't even a demo, it was simply a teaser to announce the Silent Hill game Silent Hills, directed by Hideo Kojima, that explains the title. PT stands for Playable Teaser. However, the game goes deeper than that in its lore, themes, and way of completion. The game has this aura around it that makes it so elusive. Shortly after the release, the game was taken off the PlayStation Store due to internal conflicts at Konami. This led to only being able to play the game on a system that already had the game installed. This adds to the aura that this game gives off, an urban legend, a game that has been cursed by something, or someone. Something only a creepypasta could come up with. The game itself, and the way it envelops fear within the player, is the reason it has gained this status. The game may look simple on face value, but it goes deeper than that. The game is a walking simulator, with little to no gameplay. You simply walk through a repeating hallway. The game builds up fear within the player through subtle changes in the environment and its sound design. Every sound adds to the buildup of tension. From the creaking of the floorboards, to the sound of a raging storm outside, to the screech of a swinging light, gives off the feeling of slight unease. But as you progress and tension builds up, more horrific sounds are heard, such as painful moans and a child crying. These aid to the discomfort of the player and build up to a well-timed jump scare that you knew was coming. but it felt unexpected. The environment that the player traverses is also a point of discussion. You start the game off in a room made of what looks to be concrete, only illuminated by a fluorescent light just above a door. Behind you is a table with a blood-stained bag that seems to have something alive within it. Next to it are markings on a wall that show how long the bag could have been there. You never see what's in the bag, but whatever's in there has a mind of its own and talks to player through cryptic phrases.
I walked. I could do nothing but walk. And then I saw me walking in front of myself. But it wasn't really me.
In many horror games, the starting area is supposed to give the player a sense of unfamiliarity whilst giving the player a purpose for being there. With PT, you are given none of that. There is no reason for being there. You aren't sure of why or how you've gotten there. You only have one option to progress, and that's to go through the door. When you go through, you enter an unkempt hallway as a storm goes on outside. A sight you will soon familiarize yourself with. As you walk through the hallway, you hear a radio signal go on about a husband murdering his wife and children.
The day of the crime, the father went to the trunk of his car, retrieved the rifle, and shot his wife as she was cleaning up the kitchen after lunch. When his 10-year-old son came to investigate the commotion, the father shot him too. His 6-year-old daughter had the good sense to hide in the bathroom, but reports suggest he lured her out by telling her it was just a game. The girl was found shot once in the chest from point-blank range. The mother, who he shot in the stomach, was pregnant at the time.
This area of the game is good at giving the player a sense of familiarity whilst giving off the feeling that they are being watched by something or someone. At the end of the hallway is a bend that leads to the short flight of stairs into a door that presumably leads to the basement. Upon going through, you are greeted with the same hallway you just came through. You suddenly realize you are in a loop. You finally have an end goal, which is to escape that loop. But that loop is overshadowed by the rush of other thoughts that go through your head. What's causing this loop? How do I get out? How did I even get here to begin with? As you progress through the hallway, the door to the exit shuts and the door to the bathroom that was previously shut opens. As you peer through, you are given the first scare of the game as you see a woman slam the door shut. The player realizes this entity could be the cause for all the strange occurrences that are happening. However, the figure is still shrouded in mystery as you don't get a full view of whoever this is. The other door unlocks and continuing forward only leads you to more insanity. You later do get a full view of this figure, but that comes later as you progress. Every time you go through that door, something else changes, and the sense that you are trapped here grows. You become less familiar with your surroundings, and the more and more this hallway you are in begins to feel like a purgatory of sorts that isn't quite reality. Now, the way you beat the game isn't stated or hinted at anywhere else in the game, and it requires a third-party source, but when you do, a man talks on what presumably is the radio as a man played by Norman Reedus walks through a deserted town which looks to be the main setting of the game. The game lingers in your mind well after you've completed the game. This is because of the way it handles horror. The game makes you fill in the blanks to explain everything that is happening around you, and this is how horror is successfully executed. The buildup of tension in the mind filling in the blanks is what horror really is, and PT is the definition of that. This feeling can't be replicated by watching a Let's Play. Only by playing the game you can get the full experience. PT will go down as the scariest game ever made and will forever hold that title, for its way it envelops fear in the player can never be replicated. Remember, someone is always watching.